Today in the Bay's Sam Brock traveled to Orland overnight. And Sam, you just got an update from the CHP.
We did, Laura. We'll get to that in 1 second. But first, it's hard to even conceptualize what's more jarring right now. The skeletal remains behind me of the bus that caught on fire earlier today, or the fact that just to get out to the scene, I had to step over remnants of triage. We're talking about oxygen masks, torn clothing and bandages, vestiges of what happened earlier today. So many people injured in that very serious traumatic accident. And in fact, you're taking a look right now at what it appeared like earlier this afternoon at about 5:40 when it first happened. The latest news, Laura, is that there's been a 10th confirmed fatality from this crash. We don't know exactly what the composition of the victims is at this point. We do know that 35 people, according to CHP, have been transported to local medical centers on top of the 10 folks who have died. We asked them today, have all the family members been notified yet? We were told no. Of course, that has to do with the fact that there are folks coming from Southern California here, families all over the state, and CHP and authorities have not yet effectively reached everybody involved. They don't know necessarily the status of their loved one. They also don't know what caused this accident, which could be an equally perplexing problem for many. We asked CHP spokesperson Lacey Heitman how they would know what caused it.
If it was intentional, if it was accidental, if it was negligent driving, evasive action or movement in a steering wheel, all the facts according to like speed, applying brakes, turning movements, all the marks that are going to be on the roadway are going to help the MATE team determine what the cause of the accident was.
So the problem is this could actually take months to determine, putting all of those pieces together, according to the CHP. Another problem, you probably want to know, how do you not know if it's the students or not who were affected? That could take a little bit of time to iron out as well, because there were actually 3 buses of students going up north to Humboldt State University. That is why the Los Angeles Unified School Department district, I should say, can't yet identify which ones were on which buses and who was affected. All information that we should have in hand here, hopefully over the course of the next day. We'll be bringing that to you, including the latest on the investigation scene here. Live from Orland, California, I'm Sam Brock. Let me send it back to you.
Oh, in the meantime, parents trying to wait for word on their students, or their children, I should say. Thanks so much, Sam. We'll keep checking with you.
That bus was packed with students. Today in the Bay, Sam Brock is live in Orland with what we've learned from investigators. Good morning to you, Sam.
Scott, good morning to you. It was only a few hours ago there were actually deceased bodies, and I'm sorry to say you talked about those expressions of grief that were removed from the scene here just within the last couple of hours. Obviously a very grisly scene. They still don't know, investigators, what may or may not be inside of the bus. So a lot of this, of course, is still unfolding. Now, if you're a parent or relative, you have to be exasperated right now, because there are so many things that you don't know, including what the breakdown is of how many students were affected in this event. That is because there were actually a number of buses, not just this one, taking students from the LA Unified District up here to Northern California to Humboldt State University, and they're still not sure which areas, which students were on which buses, trying to iron that out. By the way, there's a couple of other big points that still remain unknown at this point, one of which is the cause of the crash, what made the FedEx truck go over that median, but also families, if they're even informed at this point. We asked Lacey Heitman from the California Highway Patrol, what are you telling families and what do they know at this point?
This type of event with over 40 people that are transported to over 7 different hospitals, it's going to take a little while to get through everyone's names, accountability, what hospital they went to, their injuries, if they're deceased, and then their families are being notified in Southern California.
Until they can remove the wreckage, but they're not going to move that.
As you mentioned, it is still also an active scene out here. We know for a fact that the CHP had an accident investigation team that has been out here overnight into the early morning hours trying to piece together the sequence of events and specifically what happened to that driver. Now, it could take months to find out the information, but we're hoping for some tidbits. There will be a press conference coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. We'll be sure to bring you the latest updates when we have them available. Reporting live from Orland, I'm Sam Brock. Let me send it back to you.
So, Sam, we're thinking it's 2 drivers dead, possibly 3 chaperones. That would leave us with 5 students. One of those passed away just very recently in the last, half hour, an hour or so. So theoretically, the death toll could go higher as well.
Absolutely, and you're right. The problem is there was initially some discrepancy over what the death toll is. Was it 9 or was it 10? It was confirmed to be 10 just a few moments ago before we went on air this morning. So that still remains very much at play. The second question is, what is in fact the allocation of those deaths? Did it come from students? Did it come from chaperones? NBC Network has in fact confirmed that, as you said, Scott, it was several chaperones, 2 bus drivers, and 5 students. But I don't know how well that information is being communicated to the local offices here. We spoke with a CHP spokesperson, so that was unconfirmed at this point.
Sure.
So we're dealing with constantly fluid, changing information.
All right, and we will be checking in with you throughout the day. Thank you, Sam.
One thing we know for sure, our investigators are still gathering evidence. Good morning, Sam.
Laura, good morning. It is ongoing, and it's a breathtaking scene out here, breathtaking in the worst possible sense. You and Scott just mentioned the latest details. That would be 10 confirmed deaths now, one of which was a severe burn victim coming from UC Davis. NBC News right now is reporting that the composition of victims to this point is 5 students, 3 chaperones, and the 2 drivers of those 2 vehicles. Now, I want to show you something. Over my shoulder, this is rural California. We're not talking about a concrete divider between the highways. It's oleander bushes. That truck was moving, and moving at a pace that could have been around 70 miles per hour. That is the speed limit around here. That bus came barreling through the bushes, clipped a car first, and ended up, as you said, striking that charter bus full of kids. Can you imagine what the impact would be at just 25 miles an hour of a head-on collision? We're talking 65, 70 miles an hour. It was absolutely devastating. To this point, they don't know actually, though, what spawned the accident, prompting the question, what exactly is the investigative team, the CHP accident investigation team, doing out here right now?
This is the CHP Multidisciplinary Accident Investigation Team. They're a team constructed to come out to scenes like this. They can put all the pieces of the puzzle together, look at all the facts, the evidence here on scene, to be able to determine what exactly happened.
And we are told that it could actually take months to figure out what caused the accident. There's so many factors that are involved here. That would be very distressing to you if you're a parent or a family member who just want to know what happened here. Equally distressing, just walking around the vestiges of what happened earlier today. You see oxygen masks, torn clothing, bandages. It's a very hard scene to take in. Back to you.
Oh, I know these kids on spring break, probably touring colleges in that area. It is very heartbreaking. Thanks so much.